The meeting was supposed to drag on until the sun dipped below the horizon, sealing my day with tedious negotiations and endless discussions. But fate had other plans, cutting the tangle of corporate decisions short with a single unexpected email. Meeting cancelled. Enjoy your afternoon. With a relieved sigh, I packed up my things and decided to surprise my husband, Mark, with an early dinner. Navigating through the quieter than usual streets, I turned into our leafy suburban driveway, excitement bubbling at the thought of spending some unexpected time together. Our home, a charming Victorian style with ivy creeping up one side, always brought a sense of peace as I approached. Today, though, prickling sensation tickled the back of my neck as I noticed Mark's car was missing from the driveway. He must be out, I thought, perhaps grabbing groceries for the meal I planned. As I unlocked the front door and stepped inside, the house was suspiciously silent. Curiosity morphed into concern. It wasn't like Mark to leave without texting. Dropping my keys and purse on the hall table, I called out, "Mark, are you home?" No answer. My heart pounded a notch higher, and without knowing why, I tiptoed towards our bedroom, the wooden floorboards creaking underfoot betraying my silent approach. Reaching the door, a faint murmur of voices seeped through. My pulse quickened. Something was off. Carefully, I nudged the door open, and the sight that greeted me froze my blood. There in our bed, tangled in the sheets we picked out together, was Mark, unmistakably entwined with not one, but three laughing women, their careless whispers piercing my heart. A mixture of shock, disbelief, and rising fury churned inside me. My vision blurred, my mind screamed, yet I stood there, unseen, a specter at the scene of my own life's demolition. I backtracked silently, my body moving on autopilot. My thoughts scrambled for a semblance of rational action as I descended the stairs to the living room where Mark kept his antique gun cabinet. The cool metal of the pistol felt foreign in my shaking hands. I loaded it, not fully understanding my intentions, driven by a tempest of betrayal and hurt. A plan formulated itself as I nestled the gun back into its velvet-lined drawer, ensuring it was out of sight but within reach. My voice, strangely calm, dialed Mark's number. "Darling," I began, masking the tremor in my voice with forced cheerfulness. "My meeting got cancelled. I'll be home in a couple of minutes." The phone clicked as he hung up, his words of assurance cutting through. "Can't wait, love." As I sat down, waiting for the front door to open, the full weight of the moment settled in. What would come next was unclear, but one thing was certain. This was the beginning of a cruel, necessary revenge. The room seemed to close in around me as I waited for the confrontation, the air thick with the scent of betrayal. This, I realized, was just the opening act of a story yet to unfold, a story of deception, pain, and retribution. My heart pounds in my ears, a drumbeat of dread and determination as I hear Mark's key turn in the lock. The door swings open, and he steps in, his face alight with the smile I once adored. "Surprise." I call out, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. He freezes, detecting the edge in my tone. Why are you home so early?" he stammers, dropping his keys on the small table by the door. I stand up, smoothing my skirt as I step towards him. "Meeting got cancelled," I repeat, my eyes locked on his. "Thought I'd come home and surprise my loving husband." His gaze flickers, and I sense his unease. Before he can speak, there's a rustle from upstairs. Footsteps, hushed and hurried. My nostrils flare. Anger courses through me as I see his attention shift momentarily towards the staircase. "Oh, are we expecting more company?" I ask, the iciness in my voice slicing through the room. No, it's just." The bedroom door above us opens, and down walk three women, each wrapped hastily in sheets. Their faces range from embarrassed to defiant. One, a brunette with sharp eyes, sizes me up with a challenging glare. Mark's face crumbles. "Eliza, I can explain." "There's no need," I interrupt, stepping back as the women make their way down, avoiding eye contact. "I think everything's pretty clear." The brunette stops and turns to Mark. "You said you were separated," she accuses, her voice tinged with betrayal. "And you believed him?" I scoff, feeling an unexpected solidarity with her. Mark starts, "Eliza, please, let's talk about this." "No, Mark. We're beyond talking. You've made your choices." My gaze shifts to the gun cabinet briefly, a silent reminder of the paths this could take. The doorbell rings, slicing through the tension. I stride over and pull it open to reveal a middle-aged couple, our neighbors, John and Linda. Linda's eyes widen at the sight of our disheveled gathering. Eliza, we heard some commotion. Is everything all right? John asks, concern wrinkling his forehead. Perfect timing, I say, pulling them inside. We were just having a little impromptu party. Linda's gaze darts from Mark to the women, piecing the scene together. Oh, I see. Well, we were just about to have tea. Why don't you all join us? It seems like there might be a lot to discuss. Her invitation hangs awkwardly in the air, but I nod. That's a wonderful idea, Linda. Let's all have tea. My voice is calm, but inside I'm reeling. This suburban showdown isn't what I had planned, yet it might just be what I need. As we all troop over to John and Linda's, the once simple walk feels like a parade of shame and scandal. Mark keeps his eyes downcast, the women whisper among themselves, and our neighbors exchange looks of disbelief. This, I realize, is not the end, nor the climax. It is merely another twist in the spiraling path of deceit and revelation. As we sit around John and Linda's antique dining table, cups of tea trembling in guilty hands, I know that the real confrontation is just beginning. Each sip, each glance holds weight, and I brace myself for the revelations yet to come. The air is thick with tension as we sit around John and Linda's elegantly laid dining table. Each clink of china sounds like a gavel, marking the gravity of the situation. Mark, pale and uneasy, sits across from me, his gaze flickering between the steaming cups and the accusing eyes of our neighbors. So, what brings us all together today? John tries to inject a touch of humor, but it falls flat, absorbed by the heavy drapes and darker secrets. I set my teacup down with a soft clink, breaking the awkward silence. We were just discussing unexpected surprises, I say, my voice steady. Linda's eyes are sharp, analytical, as she watches the unfolding drama with a blend of concern and curiosity. Yes, surprises, Mark echoes weakly, his eyes not meeting mine. The brunette from earlier, who introduces herself as Clara, sets her cup down with less care. Look, I had no idea Mark was still married. He told us it was over between you two. Her friends nod in agreement, their expressions a mix of embarrassment and anger. I can't help but feel a twinge of sympathy for them, misguided as they are. I assure you, we are very much married, I say, my words cold, pointed. But perhaps Mark can explain better. I turn to him, offering the floor. Mark clears his throat, visibly sweating now. Eliza, I made a mistake, he starts, his voice shaky. A mistake? I interrupt, incredulous. Or several? Linda interjects, her tone gentle yet firm. Maybe it's best if everyone speaks openly now. No more secrets. There's a collective breath. A sense of diving into deeper waters. Mark looks at each of the women, his expression torn. I was selfish, he admits. I didn't think about the consequences. To any of you. John, who's been quietly observing, leans forward. Consequences often catch up, no matter how fast we run. I nod at John's words. Indeed they do, and they have today. My eyes lock with Mark's. I came home to surprise you, to spend the afternoon together. Instead, I find my husband in our bed with not one, but 3 other women. How do you think we should handle this, Mark? Mark's jaw tightens, and for a moment, I see the man I thought I married, wrestling with his guilt. I don't know, Eliza. I'm sorry, deeply sorry. But I understand if you can't forgive me. Forgiveness seems a distant point on the horizon, unreachable in this moment of betrayal. The conversation shifts as Clara and her friends begin to share their perspectives, their voices a mixture of anger and confusion. Linda, ever the peacemaker, suggests, why don't we give Eliza and Mark some space to talk? This is something they need to sort through themselves. I appreciate her tact, realizing that this gathering, while uncomfortable, was necessary for the revelations it brought. As Clara and the others stand to leave, Clara pauses beside me. I'm sorry for my part in this. Truly, she says, her eyes sincere. I nod, accepting her apology not with warmth, but with acknowledgement. Thank you for saying that. Once they leave, and John and Linda retreat to give us privacy, the room feels emptier but the air less stifling. Mark and I sit in the quiet, the reality of our shattered relationship laid bare between us. So what now? Mark finally asks, his voice low. I look at him, the familiarity of his face now tinged with the strangeness of betrayal. Now we decide what's left to salvage, if anything at all. As we begin to talk, the sun starts its slow descent, casting long shadows across the room, mirroring the long road of healing or parting that lies ahead. As the last rays of sunlight filter through the curtains, casting golden patterns on the floor, Mark and I remain seated at the table, a graveyard of tea-stained cups between us. The air has shifted, heavy with the weight of truth spoken and the echoes of a relationship fracturing beyond repair. I think we both know this isn't just about today, is it, Mark? I say, breaking the silence that had settled over us. He looks up, his eyes weary. No, it's not. It's been coming apart for a while, hasn't it? I nod, the acknowledgement bitter on my tongue. We've been more like roommates than spouses, but I never expected this. Mark sighs, running a hand through his hair. I know. I'm sorry, Eliza. I never wanted to hurt you. I was just lost. I didn't know how to say it. The simplicity of his confession stings. And so you chose betrayal as your language? He winces. When you put it that way. Before he can continue, there's a knock at the door. Puzzled, I rise to answer it, my heart pounding with the day's surprises. Standing on the doorstep is Detective Sarah Jennings, a friend from my book club and a local police detective. Her presence is a jolt, her face somber. Eliza, I'm sorry to disturb you, but I need to speak with you. It's important, Sarah says, glancing at Mark and then back to me. Of course, come in, I say, leading her to the living room. Mark follows, his curiosity piqued. Sarah takes a deep breath before she begins. Eliza, we've been investigating a series of thefts in the area. We didn't want to alarm anyone unnecessarily, but we traced the stolen goods to a pawn shop. Your address came up in connection with some of the items. I frown, confused. What? That doesn't make any sense. We haven't pawned anything. She nods, her expression serious. We know. It seems the items were being stolen from your house over several months. Jewelry, some electronics. We believe someone had access to your home. Mark's face drains of color. Wait, are you saying? Sarah continues. The shop owner identified Mark from a photo lineup. He was seen pawning items last month. I turned to Mark, shock and realization crashing over me like a cold wave. Is this true, Mark? His silence is damning. After a moment, he slumps, defeated. Yes, I was going to pay it all back. It started small, but then... But then what? You needed more excitement. More money? The pieces click into place. The secretive behavior, his absences, the strange finances. I was in debt, Eliza. Deep. It wasn't just gambling, it was everything. The women, the pawn shop. I thought I could fix it before you noticed. I reel back, the depth of his deceit slicing through the last thread of my patience. You brought strangers into our home, stole from us to fund your escapades, and I only found out because you didn't lock the bedroom door today. Sarah interjects, Eliza, we can discuss legal options, but it's clear this has been going on for some time. As Mark buries his face in his hands, I stand, my decision clear. Thank you, Sarah. Mark, I want you out tonight. We're done here. I'll be in touch through my lawyer. Turning away, I feel a strange relief amid the chaos. Betrayal had unmasked the truth, and with it, a chance to rebuild. As the door closes behind a departing Mark, I realize the future is uncertain, but finally, it's mine to shape.